Alright, well, I've been doing some sketching and some thinking about Mike Ayler's $50 and Up Underground House book and Rob Roy's Earth Sheltered Housing. And so this is kind of a sketch of the first idea I have for this very inexpensive cabin in the woods built with many natural materials. And this is kind of the layout and structure that I have thought out. Mike Ayler's stuff tends to be square. And I don't want to go that route. Rob Roy, especially his writing, has kind of made me think that circular is good for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is a circle actually encompasses the most amount of space most efficiently. In other words, by creating a square, you actually lose the amount of square footage you have for the amount of wall. And the calculations I have for this particular house is it's going to be 453.57 square feet. It's going to have a diameter of 24 feet, a radius of 12 then, a circumference of 37.68, which means that a half circumference is going to be 18.84, quarter circumference, you can figure that out, 9.42 and 8. I was just trying to figure out what the spans were going to be for these. So essentially what we're going to do, and just to give you an idea of what the side would look like of a house like this, it's going to look like this, but keep in mind that this is going to be ground level. So this is how much the house will stick up over the ground. So you'll see a green roof with grass on it, and then there will be a little part that will be dug out, and a little stairwell to climb out of the area. But essentially the house is going to be earth sheltered or in the ground. It doesn't have to be below ground level, but that's kind of what I'm thinking at this moment. I might raise the structure up and then create a mound around it. But it doesn't matter really where the ground level is going to be. That's kind of what I'm envisioning right now. But let's kind of go. I'm trying to explain how this is done. So you essentially have to excavate. Now this is probably done best with a backhoe, but some kind of excavation needs to happen. You could do it, but with a shovel. You dig out 2 to 3 foot deep holes in which you're going to fill concrete and put a half-inch steel rebar in the middle of each one of these concrete pillars. And there's going to be, let's see, quite a few concrete pillars. So let's see it. Here. These are all going to be concrete pillars. So essentially there's going to be 16 of these concrete pillars plus this one and maybe some even in here. Although you could probably get away with not doing concrete pillars in these middle supporting beams. I need to check all the numbers and the structure. This might be a little bit overbuilt for its size, but just to make sure, I wanted to put in some of these inner supporting beams. They kind of might get in the way in the house, but I'll have to run the numbers and see what I can get away with in terms of, and it really depends on the kind of trees I'm going to be using and how big around the diameters of the trees are going to be. So since those things are unknown, I'm trying to think about overbuilding it somewhat, because a roof falling on someone's head is a very bad thing. So the idea is you dig the holes for the concrete pillars, you pour the concrete, you put the steel rebar in it, you drill the bottom of a post to accept the rebar, you pound that down in there, and you create like a little 2x4 frame or a stick frame just to kind of keep these posts upright, check for plumb. And so this is kind of going to be like Mike Ayler recommends a shed roof because this is going to be a circular building. The highest point is going to be this middle pillar here. The middle pillar here is going to be 1.5D piece of wood, but it doesn't have to be the actual 2 or 3 feet. Yeah, it doesn't have to be 2 foot in diameter. The idea is to get a very, very large post and then put a capstone, kind of like the Greek capstones. And this is going to increase the surface, the load-bearing surface on top. I'm not sure how to create this capstone yet. I'm thinking about bolting together 3 courses of 4x4s, but we'll see how that goes. I might be able to figure out something creative on how to create this capstone yet. Each one of these capstones, the capstone will support the 16 different pillars. I'm sorry, not the pillars, 16 different rafters. These rafters extend for about 2.5 feet past the roof, and then it'll be kind of round, but technically it's a 16-sided object. It'll look pretty round, I think, by the time we get to the end of it. So the rafters hold up the planks. The planks will go between rafters. When you put the logs on this, you want the thicker end of the log towards the outside and the thinner end of the log towards the middle, because the middle is going to have lots and lots of other trees to support it, and so the longer span is where you're going to need the most strength as these rafter distances get separated. So the planks go down, you put down a course of 1 inch of wet newspaper, the plastic, polyurethane plastic, or pond liner, however you want to do it, another inch of wet newspaper, another polyurethane plastic, polyethylene plastic, then another thing of newspaper, and then there are going to be 6 inches of soil. So this is kind of like the idea. You got the rafters here that are supporting these different layers of newspaper, plastic, newspaper, and then soil on top of the roof, in which you're going to grow a various amount of xeriscape type of grasses and flowers. And so the layout of the house, as I kind of have it thought out right now, is I want to have 2 exits/entrances. So there's going to be a door on either side of the structure. This allows for escape if you need to get out for fire or who knows what is happening. So as you come in, there will be some kind of probably wall here. People will probably want to create some kind of wall privacy for the bathroom area. I'm thinking that you could put the toilet here, maybe some kind of portable sink around here, and then you could probably make some kind of bathtub for yourself. Be fairly small, but some kind of shower area. Probably keep some kind of 55-gallon drum under the floor of this bathroom, and this will be kind of maybe the waste drain. Maybe also have a waste drain just moving out through this room, as gray water can move. The toilet will be self-contained, and you'll just have to empty that out every now and again. Have to figure out good systems for that. This area here is going to be like this here is a kitchen counter. This is also more kitchen counter. This will probably be like a breakfast bar / put food on it or do meal prep here. Maybe a little sink, possibly a propane stove, maybe a propane stove in the sink. This is going to be the barrel for the rocket mass heater. The rocket mass heater is going to have a cob couch. So this whole thing here is going to be a cob couch, which will be nice and toasty and warm, and will have some kind of exit gas for the exit chimney for the cob couch be there. One large bed. I figure this is about 5.5 feet across and 7 feet long. I'm not sure what a queen-size bed dimensions are. I think it's more like 6 by 7, but I'll have to check on that. So you're looking at like a full-size bed here, looking at maybe something on the order of a twin bed here, and potentially bunking this one, so you'll have guest space and or storage space. This center part is the central pillar. This little bit larger area around it is the capstone, and I'm thinking just creating a space all the way around this pillar as kind of a closet/storage area. So this part here could be like kitchen pantry stuff. This here could be little closets for toys and clothes, clothes and various types of books and this kind of thing, kind of shelving here. And so I like the idea that you have at least this whole quarter plus a little bit more open. The living room kind of bleeds into the kitchen, and then kind of like the bed spaces, bedroom spaces kind of bleed together. But again, this is going to be 450 square foot, so that's not a whole lot of space. So it's for 2 people it should be comfortable, I would think. And for more than 2 it's going to be tight. But I think there's all going to be enough breathability here to make things pretty cool. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, I'm thinking you have like 2-foot tall windows, 3 feet across. Could be glass block. Could be wine bottles or this kind of thing. The idea here would be since you have your windows here, letting light into the house, you could put some old window here, and you've created a nice, interesting little cold frame almost all the way around your house, in which you kind of start your vegetables and grow lettuce and these kinds of things. So you could be looking out your window and you could be seeing the tops of your lettuce. I suppose if they're blocking the light, you can cut them down, that kind of thing. So this is kind of the idea of the plan. And for a little cabin in the woods, my estimated cost for something like this at this point is probably in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $5,000, depending on how fancy everything gets. And so long as you're using cob for your furniture, I suppose the mattresses, maybe if you already own a mattress, you can move it in. Otherwise, there's possible to make mattresses using linen and straw, and I wonder how a straw mattress would be. I'd actually be curious to know. So there's still room to play in here, but I think it's definitely doable. I mean, if you want to go really Spartan, you might be able to do this for, under 3,000, 2,000, even 1,000. Again, it's all about how much natural materials you can use, how much you're going to need to end up buying. The major costs are going to be nails and screws and rebar and concrete and the polyethylene plastic. So that's kind of the thoughts.